Hello and welcome. It is the completion of the 14th day of January 2020. My name is Derek and this is the Money Charts channel where, like always, all bets, trades of the like within each his own risk and their own reward. We'll get into silver in just a little bit, and I'm just going to be speaking real here, so any of those four-letter words I may choose to use when appropriate, I most likely will do so. Alright, so with that being stated, all the disclaimers out of the way as if they should be necessary in the first place. Yeah, we'll get into silver later on because, this shit's saying the fan. Oh, no. Yes and no. This is just whatever stuff. It's nice to see that it's starting to go up on the day, like only 0.4%. If I take a look at some other codes, 27% Dash is up, and it was up more. Holy shit, it went up to this 1559 number. It was at Christmas time, it was at this 55, so it's almost 3x'd in that time. Okay, how do you do? And on the 1 hour time frame, there we have it, just a huge move at 1700 at 7 p.m. This is the length. This is what happens in these markets at times. Is there some sort of news that went with it? Most likely. Do I really myself need to care and know? Not really. No. Only price pays. Whether I didn't know what the news was or not, whatever price I end up getting, and I guess I end up getting around the 13 number. Of course, I wasn't even aware of this until as it was in here. And of course, it was okay. I guess it's time to take Dash out of my wallet and buy some other coins. But as it goes, and I think it's probably better to put a different time frame. But as we see here in the daily, first, I'll use this one. We have this volume in here, as I've been stating, yada, yada, yada. That's just what happens. Heavy buying coming in and accumulation obviously in play. Is this a noticeable break above the 18 average of highs? And that's not a rhetorical question. You don't have to answer me. It's an obvious answer. Almost certainly it is. Did it manage to get up to some sort of key level? I guess I'll use a straight line. I think the answer is no. No, close. It's close. It's not quite there. For the May lows of last year, 3/4, 2/3 area time frame lows is where it's close to, as this came in at, we'll call it the 166. 166. We have a high right now of 158 almost. So it still has a little bit to go. And let's just change this time frame up. Or let's just change the exchange rather to all the Bittrex will work. And one of the things I'm noticing here, I'm going to go to the daily time frame on this, is the volume. Do you see heavy volume here? We got this versus this versus this. You look at this and that doesn't look like anything really much in particular going on here. And on the daily chart, we're probably going to see, it's obviously Binance, the majority of the buying has been coming from. Now if you take a look at this on the monthly chart, it's made a move to near the 18 average of highs. The last time it made a move near that in a downtrend was never. It has the first time in a downtrend. Because the history on this, well, we had this little bit here. And this is the whole point about when I say the shit hitting the fan. Well, it's is this a change of something new? Because when did this top occur? Well, I'm looking here at around, this is December 2017. That's when this 18 average flat hit. It's been in a constant decline ever since. Long move in here. So 2 months, 2 green candles, a little bit of fall through. That's all it's able to do is get to this point. And then another monstrous move. Markets go up typically faster than they go down. It doesn't take a rocket scientist, or, I mean, how obvious is it amongst this situation in here? So when I say all this type of changes and I look at this and I see 30% moves, and there was a time, and I'm exhausted from this on the long-term time frame. I want to get into this type of stuff and talk about this stuff in this video after I'm done the text. Of exhaustion from going through over and over how to ratio trade and all these other different things that I just don't need to bother doing it anymore. And if you're interested in that information, well, I just keep it in the more information box, and well, you can learn from that. It's old information, but it's always good and it's always the same. And being able to take advantage of it, where if you realize something like this is in a downtrend, it goes down, is it going to go back up and have the wild moves? And when you have the wild moves happen like this, then they could be fantastic. But in the bull market scenario situations, as the case was back in 2017, pretty much throughout the entire year, for the most part, front to end, but realistically, from March of 2017 throughout the end of January of 2018. The movements where I show that I'm going to go with this like 30% move here. Normal, we got, I mean, there's not much else moving here as it is, and I only got so many coins that I'm showing on here. But most certainly a fantastic move, to say the least. Bitcoin at 8,700, down $113 for the day so far. And for the day is just a few hours. On the monthly chart, I mean, this is like so obvious correctionary move, and it's, well, what's the direction of the 18? Up, down, sideways? Is it in a Morocco formation? I don't even know what that is. I just made up a bunch of letters and put together. It's obviously in this sideways consolidation. We can do this little drawing thing. It's, I mean, a little bit of a curve. It's still got a lot to change, but the fact that at least I can start to go like that is an upgrade. But most importantly, I mean, it's got to make a clear break. A clear break, getting above this, where it's just starting to become noticeable. We're looking at about 1,000 multiply a dozen, or 17,000 minus 5,000. That's another way to say what is 12,000 if that was a Jeopardy question. But this isn't Jeopardy. And then you got this high up here. Really, the size move from here to here is like hardly anything at all. It's like nothing. And when you look at it from this perspective, this is why. Yeah, we had huge volatility, and it's going to go lower in time as volume and just the popularity of such goes up. People talk about, oh, Bitcoin and all this shit can't last because, well, it's, I mean, the volatility is too much. Well, as time grows, having situations where, oh yeah, we went from 3 up to like 200 and something. Oh yeah, 70x move, and then we'll just have a very tiny correction. Yeah, how much down? Small. Well, about maybe a 3x move down, but that's nothing. We'll then go from there. We'll do like a 13x gain, and then do an 8x decline, and then go ahead and do like a I don't know, what's this, a 100x move? 150, 1,500, 15,000? Oh yeah, more than a 100x move. That's just the way it goes. And of course, the last one, oh, we went from 20 down to like 3, so 7x. Okay, 7x. And those numbers will just get lower. So the next time we have a big decline, it might not be 7x. It might only be 4 or 5 or 3.79621. Oh, if it is that exact number. And there really, could it ever be that? No, it's no such thing because it's traded on multiple different exchanges. Nonetheless, the volatility is there. The volatility is big, and that's all part of the risk-reward factor. That if you're able to handle these small declines of losing 75% of your value, and I have to say that realistically because it's all in relevance, small declines of 75%. For this to be a, it's done. It's the, it's done. It's not going to work. that means Bitcoin has to break this level of support. And really, it's going to fall down below here. So it's just going to have your like standard 99% decline. But if it has these, whatever, 80% losses, that's just what it does. Might be another way of just saying that, like, basically shit happens and what else can you do? Let's take a look at the dominance again, because I thought that was pretty interesting how, well, Dash isn't only so much, but of a coin. But this is a significant red candle down move. 3% down on this. I mean, it's now at this big test of this level of support. It hasn't been there since near U.S. Thanksgiving time frame. And it was there previous around Canadian Thanksgiving time frame. And then before it was lifting off at around August of last year. If this area doesn't hold, and I really don't like the prospects that it will. I mean, weak support, poor support, probably shitty support, and that goes in the level of, do we even stop going down from here? Do we just bounce a little, maybe only come up to where we came from at highest 69 change, but even realistically around 69 low. Do we just tangle around here for a little bit? Something like tangling is like doing like stuff like this. And then, of course, thereafter that. And in a situation that we're going to be having in the future is most likely is altcoins kicking ass. And when they do that, you talk about filling empty space in here, the potential for what it can fill. Well, the 2017 time framing, again, this is how it started in 2017, and January of 2018 is right in here. So since then, the primary trend from key high to key low has been down. Along the way, there was holy shit moments of great volatility where if you found ways of buying low and selling high, the opportunities, they weren't endless, but there were a lot of them. And then it followed through with decent volatility in here. And then it grinded on okay volatility, and then the sideways action on decent volatility, and the shitty volatility started right here. And I mean, this move in here is a statement that it wants to end that, and it wants to, and in a move like this, if it could do any of this type of stuff again, that to me would just be fantastic. Of course, the market is obviously going to do what it's going to do. So anyway, like I say, exhaustion from doing the all these types of like ratio trades. And let me just bring one up now quickly. A lot of these I'm not even trading, and then a lot of the Bitcoin Cash ones are expired. How about Dash and Theta? That one's the one I want to talk about, because I haven't even looked at this one in a long time. I mean, I've been trading it recently, like today, twice today, and then a few days ago before then. But this thing got over 1200 today. Now it's at 1083. You need 1083 Theta to buy one Dash, or vice versa. It broke down from this level July of last year. And then it was just before Christmas, 5 months, where it did that of a decline. It hasn't even been a month since then. And along the way, when you're in this primary trend ratio trading, I'm going to be, and I was, selling and sold Theta to accumulate Dash. At this times here, sometimes you can get a little bit of counter trend moves that can get into play. But then all the accumulation of these coins meant selling it back, and now I'm accumulating Theta. That's just how the game is played. And within it, I think this is a game pretty much anyone can do for the most part. I don't care really what kind of job you got. That you check every day. Maybe in the morning, maybe again at nighttime. And then you see, I'm just drawing this just to draw, but you check it, and if there's something to do, there's something to do. And if there's nothing to do, there's nothing to do. But when there is something to do, you do it. And that is, in the cases like this, dash is up this much, the ratio is this, I have this much dash, how many do I want to sell? Make sure I have that much, do your transaction, do all that stuff, and you're done, and you'll wait. Now at this stage, I got high volatility, so this thing can keep going higher, and I'll just pull more dash out and I'll accumulate more theta. But I realize with this move that if it comes back down here in like a little bit of time, that's because dash is probably going to go down. And theta could go up 40% tomorrow. I don't know. I don't have to predict that when it's going to happen. I'm predicting its destination, its journey along the way. I don't give a shit. As long as it does its thing and has its big moves, I'll be happy. And that's what's happening right now, at least in a case like this. And since I talked about Bitcoin Cash earlier, I don't want to talk about it again tonight because it's not really doing anything new. And I did talk about theta, but when I look at this, is at any given time, this thing could just break away from this 18. It's been in this downtrend correction mode, but still been holding this. And you never know when it's just going to attempt. At least for now, we had this interesting, okay, something's going to happen. Volatility in the markets are already in a statement mode of something new as it is with what's going on anyway. So if it gets above this, it's got the potential. And then how much it could fill within this empty space, I don't know how to tell that. But I know how to react to it when those situations come into play, though. That's what's important. Alrighty. Now let's take a look at some whatever. Fred's a nice guy. I used to know a Fred. He lived on Lake Street. But M1 money stock. It's in an uptrend. It's at 3,984, whatever that means for number. Units. It's at 3,984.3 units. If we take a look at this on the monthly chart, yeah, I got quarterly and yearly. Let's go quarterly. Let's go yearly. It's holding above the 18 average, this M3, on the yearly term time frame. It almost hit the 18 average of lows back in 1999, 2000, this time frame. But ever since this breakout, and let me just do it so I can see the year. In 2008, I mean, interesting things happened that year. I guess it was a year before the Great Recovery. What was that? Obama named it because I think there was like bad stuff. They call stock market crashes and recessions and shit like that in 2008. But Great Recovery, the Great Recovery of 2009. Yes, that's what occurred, and the fiat currency supplies just rose. But they've always been rising. I mean, that's just the way it goes. What's the national debt these days? I haven't even looked at that in a long time. Fred, what's the national debt? $22.7 trillion. Also in an uptrend. It hasn't even never been close on this yearly term time frame, at least going back in here to even touching it. Although there was a down year one time. Ooh, it was down 1.97%. How the story goes. Okay. Silver and gold. Because here's the deal. The more and more people that understand about the fiat currency debt note system, the more they probably won't be too pleased with how it reacts. And you know what? I kind of don't blame them. After all, I mean, I've lived my whole life ever since pretty much around here. Now, if you can hear a loud sound in the background, if it's like whatever, let me know. Or if it's bad, whatever. It's one of my heating fans going through, and I'd just rather not turn it off. It shouldn't be too bad because you should barely hear it. Anyway. This is an interesting setup on the yearly for gold. It really is. It's how do you in poker? I played poker back in the day, and I was damn good at it. I'm still damn good at it. After all, once you know how to play, I mean, I still know how to. I'm better than I was, I'd think. Anyway, so are other people too. But one of the things about poker was always to be able to find the story of how the hand is going. So we'll say this is an entire hand. How do I clarify the story of the situation? Well, in this is almost a long sideways consolidation. No, I don't have the 18 average in here. And I do know that it came from in here, so it had a run up and went sideways along this. So it had a sideways correctionary mode, having a high of 850 falling down to 250. When I was talking about Bitcoin having its like 35x shit losses and 7x and maybe becoming 3, well, this is where gold, which was already a popular item back in the 1970s and the 1800s, and it was popular in the 1300s and around the time of Christ and Roman Empire, and for 5,000 plus years, or ish years, it's been popular. But anyway, we'll see if it can remain popular as time goes on. Well, that'll always stay in question. Some questions are easier than some to answer. So a sideways correctionary mode, and there's the excitation on the story of the 18 on this for the 18, and almost, if not almost, there is no almost, every single year up until the 2012 highs. And then what's happened since that 2012 highs? 3 consecutive down years in a row, with the middle one being a mess sideways break-even year. And starting in that first or final breakdown year, it had 1, 2, 3, 4, and really the 5th, for the first half of it anyway, of showing strength and grinding the 18 highs. And really, when I say the first half of it, that meant once this whole summer rally and everything came into play, this is excitation of the 18 average on the yearly term time frame. I can't get a more longer term chart. It's almost impossible. Maybe I could pull a 13-month up, but that won't make much of a difference either. But just like Bitcoin, you have this situation in here where it's like yada yada yada. I mean, okay, we're leaving it. There's not much empty. There's like no empty space really from here to here. So resistance here is pretty shitty likelihood. Coming back, I mean, the 18 average, if it even gets there, is where you're going. Of course, the yearly time frame, but break it, you could be having an extreme game. You could have this was a sum of like 8, 9, 10 years occur in like 1 or 2. And it could even be bigger than that, meaning it could be 1 or 2 or 3 years that are big, and the biggest one's even bigger than this entire sum. Situations like that, especially because of a fucked up fiat currency system that has been just, it's going to go. It's just a matter of time. It's a matter of when. And really, what's the likelihood gold and silver will survive? That's, again, some questions are harder and easier than others to answer. Let's continue on further within this monthly chart for gold. This is just so interesting. As you have this little blockish stuff in here. And this one stands out a little bit from this. It's like it's leaving what it's doing. The story, again, as we're saying. And that story is happening while we're having this newly rising 18 after having a successful correctionary phase from this rally. This level of resistance, I mean, I've talked about this before. I mean, it never even came back to it. It never, all this sell-off, markets can correct either through time or price, and I can't give this any price correction relevancy whatsoever, and it looks like this price correction might be done. And we're going to resume this uptrend, thus fill this empty space. Previous high is $1,920. Let's move this on to silver. I guess the easiest way of doing that is this way. You know what? Before we do that, I want to see it against the Canadian gold, that is. 2027. I mean, it's the same chart. It's just in the Canadian side of you can see it's already broken past the all-time highs of about 1,800 and change in the Canadian side. Yeah, 1920 US and like, what do we got here? Like 1896 kind of deal, which means it pretty much was par. Canadians were microscopically higher value, like something percent, like 0.8 or whatever, pretty much the same. And now it's like something like 30+% or whatever it is, 30. It's just the way it is. And don't be surprised if gold and silver goes up. Well, first of all, it should go up, but don't be surprised in that event that gold will go up more against the US dollar than it will against the Canadian dollar. And what price they'll match if the Canadian US dollar even does match, because you never know what type of shit can go against the Canadian buck. That can give it bad news here and there. It's fiat as well, as is every other world's currency, which why Bitcoin, gold, and silver, a global currency. I wonder how I think it's going to do moving forward, and what am I holding? Okay, anyway, that's gold against the Canadian dollar. You know what? This one's delayed, so because it's got the D on it. As if it makes much of a difference anyway. I know I got all these lines on here, so it makes it... this looks like... Yeah, I mean, it's so crumped up here, but... As we can see, it's on the monthly chart. It's the same sort of similar deal. The sideways reaction, how this one's a lot different than the previous one. It has given back that retracement. Is this decline anything to be concerned? Obviously not when you see it above the 18 highs, but on the daily chart, is there any reason for concern? Well, it's still holding on the 18. It's still made a lower low here to here. And is there concern if it goes down? Well, the next Fibonacci is this low to this high. It'd be like down towards here, this big... well, the big must-hold area is like 1720. Oh, but it's going below the 18 lows if it does it. Yeah, so be it. And this is where you got to use like the 3-day chart or something like that. The 3-day chart might give you, see with the 3-day in here, how the 18 lows meets up with this point. So that's where I want to see if this is a failed move. But, you know, that doesn't give a shit, doesn't matter anyway, because 22, 23, I think that's like 22 or 23 trillion dollars. It hasn't been that long ago since I checked it. It mattered like 5, 6, 7 minutes ago maybe. It's high. And that M3 is above the 18 average of highs consistently every single day. And base, fiat, all the debt stuff, banking, it's a passe system, I believe. And it's on its way out. So therefore, I hold gold, I hold silver, and I hold cryptocurrencies. And just even transaction today, I was talking to somebody and I was leaving and I was basically mentioning, and I paid via the bank machine card, the debit card, as I call it anyway. And I'm just talking about how normally I don't use it because and I got to go to the bank soon, or I'll just take cash out, and I got it in paper rectangles, and I'll just use it that way. It's much easier. I'd rather have it that way when I want my fiat. And then gold and silver, in my possession, in bullion form, and cryptocurrencies, and you got private keys that I'm not gonna tell you those letters and numbers. I'll tell you my public keys and numbers. Oh, sure, whatever. Thank you for those who send anything, but no. That's the whole point. Personal control of it. And basically, what I was saying is that all my I like to have my own cash. And I even just mentioning just having just to hold my own gold and cryptocurrencies. Never really got any reaction back from it. But you know what? It was more of a natural reaction more than anything. I didn't even just want to say, hey, let's do this. It was literally all natural reaction. All fun, dandy stuff. Well then, I guess I shall call this a video. I don't think anything has changed in this market in this time. Ooh, Dash has gone down a bit. Wonder if I can get some buybacks. It was like 30% up. But I mean, I need a good decline. I mean, it's got to go down a lot for me to think about buybacks at this stage. Out of curiosity, what does the 1 minute look like at this time frame? Yeah, there's a look. This is like 7 minutes of me just talking about yada yada shit, and 13.14 down to like 12.21. That's like 6-7% and like that, and then that's just a nothing move, really. It's just, this is how fast it went up, and you know what? Let's just do Fibonacci just for the heck of it. Now I have to determine what low do I use. Here's my options. I can use this breakout low. I can kind of use a key low, but what's better, this low or this low? But why does this low count over this? I think I need to switch the time frame off, and let's just look at it from the 15. It's either the breakout or it's the low before the 14th number in here, because I'm thinking this one here. And what? This one. I mean, I can't go that. I can't go that. I mean, there's just so many of these different lows. I have to do this one down here. What's the lowest number? 9402. Okay, bring the calculator up. And then let's insert the highest number after that. It's high divided by low to the exponent of the numbers that you'll see when the answers come up. And then multiply the low again. High is 1577, we'll round, or 1576.7 I could type in. Actually, I have to put them all in anyway. 15767. Okay, so key levels. Let's just first take a look at it just for something to do. 13956 area. Let's just plot a line in here. And if any of these Fibonacci lines hit, I'm just going to say this now, it's only luck, okay? It's just, that's it. It's luck. And if it doesn't, well, what do you expect? You expect it's going to work? Come on. It's luck if it does, though. There's one line. Let's take a look at a second one. That's the 61.8. So that's a 23.6 down correction. This is a 23.6. This is a 38.2%. Or yeah, this here. So 129 number is at 38.2 down. 1290. We'll put that in that area. Let's see what comes up, which is pretty much in that area. And right around here. Oh, there's a Pierce Extra. Interesting. Rarity. And then the fact that it's just holding like this, that's kind of lucky, I suppose. And then as far as where a key number, and I'll draw this line and keep it in for a while, I suppose, or until it's not needed. 11455 area. Just for something to do. Yada. There we go. So, and that statement that this is making on the short-term time frame here via the 15 is that it's not doing so well holding on the lows, and we've had this breakdown just recently happening. And as mentioned, you have a big move like this in all this empty space. Longer the time frame at the 1 hour time frame will tell you a little bit better. We can see at least here and come down to it. This is going to coincide with the Fibonacci. Yada. So let's take a look on the 1 minute and see if it was. Okay, another Pierce Extra higher. Holy shit. That is so twice. That is literally rare. I mean, I would have been. This is something that as a trader could drive me crazy if I was playing it, because if I was looking for a buyback, I would be buying at this low. I'd be waiting like just that little bit more to go below. It doesn't happen. And then, of course, in a situation where you find the support, you don't succeed with going higher than the 18. The newly declining 18 starting to decline. You see how you're showing the weakness. Notice that you get the two decent-sized red bars after it breaks down below the key level. And then it supports the second time in a row. Pierce Extra. So I guess if you want to buy here, I would think maybe Pierce higher. And then it resists this. That was just luck. I mean, that's just nothing more than luck. And then we come up to it. We have a successful hit of this correctionary phase, and you get above it, break out, support it. Okay, this now if we get above the 18, things will get going good, but it doesn't. See, never gets above the highs. And then we fail here within this. Now we have 2 periods resisting it. Oh, okay, maybe we'll do it, but we got to get above the 18 band. We're not doing that. And then we're resisting this even further. There we go. We get above. Maybe it's looking good, but it never did. And of course, as it goes, we come down in here, This one piercing extra. Now it's chopping, consolidating, yada yada. At that point, now here it was congesting at it, and congesting is above and below kind of deal. Then it was supporting it, and then it failed to support it here at 23.23. And now we've just had a few minutes of rallying. Now will this area be resistance in here? And same thing here about this empty space. Okay, so I want something to coincide with this line. I'm on the 1 minute time frame, the 4 minute time frame. Oh, look at how it does it. Yada yada. Thank you for tuning in. Have yourself a great day. Bye bye.